Hi, good night, everyone. Thank you, Colin, for that. That's a great introduction. And thank you, Tree. I don't know how many times I've been in Ottawa, but it's my first time here at this event, and I'm enjoying it, so thank you for inviting me. Ilana and I were saying a while ago that this was like scheduled 8 months or a year in advance, right? And usually reading series aren't that organized to get things done so quickly. And so March 2014 seemed like such a long time away, and now it's March 2014, right? I'm still a young man, though, according to Colin, so I'll take it. It's funny, from the time I was 9 years old, I didn't feel like I never felt young. I always felt really old in my head. And I will look it someday. So tonight I'm going to read from Personals, and this is a collection of love poems. Almost love poems is more correct. So they attempt, the characters in the collection, they attempt love. They don't always consummate love. They never quite get a grasp of the other person's hand. Rather, they're just kind of left dangling or waiting or yearning or longing. And even if they do get what they want, they change their minds on it. And so over the course of the next few minutes, many different people are sort of going to pass through my mouth. It feels like a seance or something, right? Are going to pass through me. I will disappear. Lots of female voices. Don't get freaked out. Yes, I will disappear and become strangely familiar, I hope, soon. The first poem I'd like to read is called Missed Connections. And this is my poem based off of Craigslist. And you might be familiar with certain sections of Craigslist, which is like a classified ads website. But there's one section that I find really fascinating on Craigslist. And that is the personal ads there. And you can choose your gender, your preferences there. But there's this section called Missed Connections there, where you can go on and say things like, I was at Tree last night, and you were there wearing a blue shirt, and you had a red hanky coming out of your blue shirt. You said hi, and I thought you were kind of cool. Message me later, right? It's this desperate sort of cry to sort of at strangers that you think you have this connection with. And it's big with my generation. This one is called Missed Connections. Walmart Automotive Department, Woman for Man, Ottawa, Ontario. You, at the Tire and Lube Express, you said, lube, and I, did you notice, revved. Your name tag was missing, so I read your hair curled like a string of ease, your forearms drizzled with soft hairs like a boy's first mustache. Apart from that, you were built like a walrus, the kind of man that drives a Ford pickup, black or silver. You said, there might be a gas leak, and we can't fix that here, but don't you worry, we'll get you fixed. By fixed, you meant hooked up. By hooked up, you meant in touch with, and meant nothing beyond touch. Me, Volvo, smelled like gasoline. I overfilled the tank before the oil change. I took the package that comes with a filter replacement. Have you already forgotten me? I had trouble with the debit machine. Remember? You said, turn your card the other way. Remember? And took my hand, not the card, took my hand with the card in it and swiped it through. Remember, please, the gasoline, the woman almost on fire. Yeah, this poem is starting to date itself, right? Because now you've got that tap thing with the debit machine. where no one even touches your hand anymore. Next poem is called Hey. And so I teach creative writing. And a lot of the time I find my students overwrite poems. And they over-explain what's going on in the poem. And I tell them, trust the intelligence of your reader. Your reader knows what's going on. They've lived sometimes longer than you. Don't feel the need to explain everything in the poem. And in order to sort of prove this point to them, I wrote this poem, Hey, H-A-Y. And I wrote the poem, then I took out all of the content. And it was still intelligible. Well, this is for you to determine, right? You can still tell what's going on in this poem. Hey. He was a young inner-city needle who played ball in a cage. What the needle were we thinking? I would needle my hands in the chain-link needle and needle him. He played with his needle, and his abs were needled like a half-eaten Hershey needle. I had a needle when I was 17. I told my needle I was needle, and he paid. We had needled each other. Of course, it's needleable whether our needle was really a needle when we decided to needle it. If it was a needle, I would name it Needle. We weren't allowed to needle after the needle, so we never talked about the needle. My needle dropped out of needle and needled a 6-week certification needle. I needle saw him much. Needle once or twice he came back and brought me needles for lunch, and we needled our needles in the calf in silence with our chopsticks. I needle you, he said. I needle you too. And then I did the reverse. So instead of taking out all of the content, I've got this friend who would be perpetually in love. And he would never sort of want to talk about it because it would always jinx the doomed relationship anyway. No good ever came out of it, but he was really superstitious about how to enter a relationship. So he would do these things like, I met this really great girl. And I would say, like, tell me about this. But he couldn't quite tell me about it, right? So here's a poem where, because he won't say anything, I will fill in everything I imagine about this girl. Long title. He will tell me later the story of the woman he has been alluding to all day. Because it takes 3 hours and gives him the blues bad. So not now, later he promises, then falls asleep on my couch, shrugging his upper lip like a horse. Open parenthesis. She wore black dresses. They drank a lot of Beaujolais. She had been to Europe several times. Spoke another language, French most likely. Worked for a firm, had a way of playing with her earlobes when searching for words. They did not touch. He held open doors. She had a son, divorcing the father. The father was still involved. So you understand, she said. Right, he said. They talked about their money. They talked about Gare Saint-Lazare. They talked about her son's teacher. They talked about maybe. There was a moment in his car when nothing happened. A moment when he thought nothing happened. She leaned toward his lips. Rien. She pulled her earlobe. Closed parenthesis. He doesn't know where he is or what time it is when he wakes up, and he has a long drive and a trustees meeting in the morning. So not now. Next time, he promises, and gets his harmonica and goes. I do think there's a strong narrative drive here. All of these poems are little stories, right? Little scenes out of people's lives that get assembled under the cover of love. And so here's another one. Anticipation is not the same as waiting. Horses the size of ants gallop through the veins, beating dust toward the heart. Men in chainmail storm down axons and fire their crossbows. A pterodactyl caws. A shark's fin cuts through gastric acid. She is playing solitaire in computer light. She is starving her body into a hanger. She is cleaning the bathtub of her hair. She's talking to digits until her battery dies. She's counting the months till June on her fingers. She is counting her fingernails as they dry. It's always hard to know exactly what to read, right? And I'm changing my mind even as I'm up here. This one's called Hero. The hero wins because that's what heroes do. When you spend the money to buy the DVD of a movie you already know the ending to. Not because you've seen it before, but because you heard from a colleague in HR that it would make you feel real good after. It was the best thing she's seen lately, and that's with her being married and every morning pushing spoons into the faces of her 2 children. So you watch it, knowing the only thing that will make you feel good this evening is seeing a bare-chested man wail on another in a ring, and another in a street, and another in a ring, in slow-mo, and the doof-doof sounds of the gloves striking bodies in movies, which don't sound like bodies for real. And the hero doesn't even look like heroes in the real world, which are not the same heroes in grade 4 essays either. But like, stay with me. This one time, you dropped by a woman's place, and you were sitting at her kitchen table, and she asked you if you wanted anything to drink. And she opened her fridge, and you saw through the crack between her body and the door only a pitcher of water on the wire shelf in the yellow light. You want to call her a hero because she's surviving with her mouth shut. Or yourself because you're so affected must mean you're noble. Go ahead, but there are other words for you too. One of the saddest moments, I think, is that moment after a party when you look at your bowl of guacamole and you realize that you had too much food for the people who showed up and that you'll be eating this stuff for the next several days. And it means that people don't like you as much as you think they do. It means all sorts of things. So this poem is called Dip. It's a pantoum, one of those fixed forms that Colin referred to. So for the pantoum, you'll hear certain lines being repeated, 2 lines per stanza being repeated in the subsequent stanza. Dip. The friends I friended do not show. One by one, yellow leaves they text, the snow, the snow, the snow, the snow, sad emoticons of their faces. One by one, down an arpeggio, they text, See you Monday. I will face them and, as always, and my face. I'll say, forget about it. I understand. On Monday, I will have to face them and the snow, the snow, the snow, the snow. I'll say, forget it, really. I understand. The friends I friended did not show. Yeah, some of my friends think I'm pretty pathetic, especially the married ones. How's that for an intro, right? To a poem. And because not just me, but anyone sort of unmarried really needs their help, right? We've all got or had friends like this before you married. And especially when it's getting a little late, like it is for me. My mother reminds me. They think that it's their job to sort of match you up and fix you up with people. And one of my friends, no joke, said, I know this great girl for you. You'll love her. It's fantastic. You guys are going to be great. I said, yeah, sure. And he said, really, really, trust me, I was in Boston at the time. And to prove this, he forwarded the girl's resume to me. And I thought, not a bad idea, I thought. And so the poem actually came out of this experience. And so what if there were a kind of application to marriage? What would be on that form, right? What would you actually like to see if you could sort of have your partner fill out this application form? So there are two things happening in this poem. There's the language of passport forms and credit card applications and mortgages, and so that kind of language of documents. And underneath it, it's that kind of sotto voce kind of voice of what's the deal breaker, right? At what point will you stop wanting me or loving me? Female voice. Poem is called Please Print Clearly in Block Letters. Name, permanent address, mailing address, if different. Will you want me when I ask you to vacuum the stairs with the hose attachment? Daytime telephone number. When we are eating cabbage for the third straight night. Evening, cell, email. When you hear my footsteps descend the basement stairs during the Leafs game. Date of birth, sex, marital status. Will you want me when birds walk across my face? Employment in the last 2 years, and I give up mowing my legs. From, to. Give up dusting my cheeks. From, to. Give up Restylane. Emergency contact information. When I sit on the toilet seat of the ensuite weeping. Name, over a clot of blood. Relationship, over nothing. Telephone. Would you, if I migrate my mind into a key of winter afternoons from the depression? Type of card, name on card, card number. If I start calling you Mr. Shopkeeper, date of expiry. If I keep asking you if you'll be getting any milk soon for the baby. Optional. Choose a security question. Would you want me if I lose a limb? Mother's maiden name. If I lose a breast. Year of father's birth. Will you want me when I declare the above statements are true? I lose half of me, signature, date, and half of you. There are poems that I've stopped reading publicly. I think there are going to be more poems as I get older, right? That I'm just going to stop reading altogether. Let's do a couple more. How about you choose? Prisoner fantasies, or bad date? Bad date. Okay, bad date it is. Bad date. I'm going to need some help for that poem, I think. This is a tough poem to read. Can I have two people help me out with this poem? Let's see how it goes. You'll be on Craigslist tomorrow, right? Great, guys. Thank you. So how about if you stand on either side of me here. And these guys are going to provide noise for the poem here. The poem is called Condition. And just basically the things we're conditioned to do, conditioned to say. And so when I tap you, Colin, can you say, how you doing?
How you doing?
Yeah, that's good. And can you say, fine, thank you, and you?
Fine, thank you, and you.
Okay, good. So the main story, I've got the main story, but these guys are just sort of giving you a double voicing. Female voice again, picture you in a restaurant, a date. He had ribs.
How you doing?
Although he knew I was vegan.
Fine, thank you, and you?
The pig, I thought. Such a pig.
How's it going?
Fine, thank you. How about you?
And he belched low in the well of his throat.
Yeah, could be better.
As if I couldn't hear it.
What have you been doing lately?
He belched the lowest organ pedal in his throat.
Oh, not too much.
And
Better than usual.
did not excuse himself or press his chest, but
Oh, what's new with you?
kept chewing with the napkin balled up in his non-dominant hand.
You know, keeping around busy.
The pig, I thought. Such a pig.
Oh, how you doing?
The waitress asked.
How are you tonight?
Any dessert? And he made a show of calculating the tip, selecting a credit card, placing it in the bill folder.
Oh, I had a great time.
So I'd remember as he held open my front door with his elbow,
Oh, thanks, I'm glad you did. Me too.
letting out the heat, the cost of my hunger, the cost of his. When he dipped his rib mouth low to mine, my belly was already descending like an old pregnant dog.
Should you do this again?
He said, are you going to invite me in? Thank you, guys. They ad-libbed that whole thing. Well done. Nice ad-lib. That's it. That empty buzzing that we always do. Two more and we'll call it a night. Let's read a poem called Too Far. Too far. One day you will go too far. Run out of breadcrumbs, stub your toe against the pot of gold, singe your horse's face on the sunset. Igniting into red like a sumac, you will blast the wrong person with the wrong words, perhaps capitalist patriarch or hegemonic bureaucrat, and make smoke of your job. I'm an academic, right? That's how you insult folks. Security will watch you pack your belongings into a Xerox box in case, as a final protest, you try to steal the company stapler. You will go too far that first night. Oh, gentle, do not go past the caution signs, the yellow diamond, the blush, hello. You will want to, but do not even with your eyes, undress the wrong brown sugar, kiss the wrong neck, roll underwear down your unshaved thighs. The distance bends into blue. Behind the sfumato, the horizon gives way to canvas. God overdrawn. He holds up a dented hand. High five, no. Goodbye, close. Stop. Because if you keep going, you will go too far. You will reach the last page, the white hell below, and have to burn it over or turn from. It will come. Your time will. It will come. Your time will. All good things come. Last poem. So this is probably the only genuine love poem in the whole book. All of them have these kind of thorns and barbs sort of disturbing them. But I think my next project is actually going to be bona fide love poems. Let's hope, right? Wish me well. And it's a simple kind of love poem, and it's not the kind of love poem you think about when you're 16, right, Kiki? When you're 14 and you think that, you are the Romeo and Juliet, and your love has burned more brightly than love ever has in the universe, and this is the first time. It's that love of sort of my grandparents, the love of being married 30 years or 40 years or 45 years, and never tiring of the person you're with. And the love doesn't flash so much, it's just kind of glow. It's like a pilot light. Nutrition facts. One of us cuts a banana into cereal with the edge of a spoon, and the other reads the side of the bran flakes box. Might not look like love. Might not love look like this? No boy plunging headlong from the sky, no star-shaped marshmallow, but a kiss on the forehead, the string of a banana still on the lip. Goodbye. Thank you.